I am a BJJ black belt, ranked in the top 10 of the IBJJF in the lightweight division. I haven't done a takedown in a BJJ tournament since 2021, and I haven't really trained judo for more than 3 years. Can I win a judo tournament? I took a 2-year break from competing in judo entirely. The last time I competed was actually in 2023. At that time, I was a green belt. After that tournament, I was promoted to blue belt, and since then I pretty much haven't trained judo at all, trying to focus full-time on jiu-jitsu, especially since at that time I was a brown belt and looking to compete in the majors such as Europeans, Pans, and Worlds, and I really wanted to do well in those tournaments. And so I really had like this limiting mindset that if I trained or did anything else that wasn't jiu-jitsu and just strength and conditioning for jiu-jitsu, that I would be like wasting my time. So I pretty much just put judo to the side for the past 2 years. I also had like a really fraught relationship with judo. Training judo was very frustrating to me because of the jiu-jitsu rule set. Because my main focus was jiu-jitsu, I found that like the logic that you could train hours and years of your life dedicated to this one sport of judo, learning how to throw somebody and someone can just pull guard on you. So I actually really doubled down on pulling guard, and for almost all of the matches that I've ever won, it's always been from pulling guard. The last takedown I did in the jiu-jitsu tournament was not even a judo throw. It was like an ankle pick in Grappling Industries in like 2021. So it's been a long time since I did stand up competitively. Going into this tournament, my goals were just to do judo techniques, or techniques that you would primarily see only in judo, and basically try to score every single win off of a throw. In my past judo tournaments, I did this like really ugly judo where I would like kind of like fake pull guard and like get the fight to the ground that way. I also did a lot of tani otoshi and ukiwaza, which were kind of like sacrifice throws that were like a lot of power and not a lot of technique. I mean, just, you know, from my perspective now looking back. So I really wanted to show that, you know, I actually did know some of like actual judo, and that I wasn't just like walking into the sport and not respecting it. I do think I was able to do that, so here's a breakdown of my matches. So my first match was against this yellow belt in judo and a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I was definitely caught a little bit off guard because they didn't have a mat number for us, and so I was just watching the match happen before me, and then I saw my name on the board. So I definitely feel like I was a little bit behind in the gripping in the beginning, but eventually I was able to get this cross collar, switch to a left-handed grip, and then use the left-handed grip to get that cross sleeve grip on her left side, which allowed me to get the over the back grip with my right hand and hit a nice sumigaishi. I really love the sumigaishi as a counter to the single leg, which obviously doesn't happen in judo, so I was glad to hit this version of it, which I think is a little bit more proactive and less of a reaction to what your opponent is doing. My second opponent was quite tough. She's a blue belt in judo and a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I had done a newaza tournament before where we started on our knees and just focused on pinning, so I kind of knew how strong she was, but I had no idea what she would do on standing. And honestly, I didn't want to find out, so I hit this seonagi, which earned me a wazari, or half of a point. Even though my goal was not to do too much newaza, if there's an opportunity to win a match faster, I'm always going to take that road. So I tried to turn her over and nothing really happened. Another general principle that I like to adhere to while competing is if something works one time in the beginning of a match, you can probably keep doing that same thing over and over, because it's very unlikely, unless your opponent is like super high level, that they're going to adopt what you're going to do, right? So like if my opponent left an opening for the seonagi the first time, it's very unlikely she's going to adopt within the next 3 minutes to not leave that opening again. So you can kind of see that I'm spamming these seonagis, and while I'm not getting any points off of them, I am getting pretty far into the entry. Even though the match was going on for a little bit longer, I was feeling pretty good because I think that she was getting to some of her good spots, but she wasn't really moving me, and almost every time I was ending up in a good newaza position off of my throw and off of her throw. Yeah, I mean, we're really going for it here. It was quite a long match. I think it was almost a full 3 minutes. I did get a Shido here, and I think it's because the ref thought I was running out of bounds or maybe being too defensive, but you get 3 shidos or 3 penalties before you're out. So I think it was okay as long as I forced some action, which I tried to do here. Another drop sayo, and again, you can see that even though I dropped first, for some reason I am ending up in the top of turtle. So I try this bow and arrow, which is important for later. So let's remember this moment when I'm trying to do a bow and arrow choke. No one stops me. I'm still trying to choke her. I don't have a good grip on the collar, so the ref stops the action. Okay? There are no shidos. There is no indication that a bow and arrow is not an allowable move. Since there is a brown belt in our division, I kind of assumed that we were going by brown belt rules. But let's just remember this moment. This girl's she's got energy, but she came like running towards me, and so I was able to hit that final sayo for another wazari, which got me the full ippon and the end of the match. My third match was against this brown belt. I got those little hops going for a little bit of hype, and as soon as we started the match, she paces towards me, and I'm able to hit this seonagi and get her into the bottom of turtle, and I roll straight into a bow and arrow. She taps, but then makes a gesture that suggests that she feels like I shouldn't have done a bow and arrow. So we have a little bit of a tussle with the refs and rule makers, where they discuss whether it's okay to choke someone when you are in a division with a brown belt. So I also pointed to my opponent and I said, she's a brown belt, so doesn't that mean we're doing brown belt rules? And then she pointed to me and she was like, she's a blue belt. Shouldn't we be doing blue belt or novice rules? So anyway, I lost the argument and I got a shido or a warning for that. And, but now I knew basically that I had to throw this girl. And that was my original goal for this judo tournament, as I am here to do judo. And so I was able to set up this ouchi or inside trip, create some space, and then as she was coming back in, hit my drop seonage. So I went up to that girl and I shook her hand. I said sorry, and then that was it. So those are all 3 matches. This is just a local tournament, it's nothing big. I wouldn't add this to my CV or anything necessarily or anything like that. It's just a really positive experience. But there are a lot of takeaways that I had from this tournament. The first is that I just love that you can win a match in 7 seconds. I think I had 2 matches that were less than 35 seconds, and that's just very rare in jiu-jitsu. You'll see a lot of ippons, fastest ippons go from 3 seconds to 10 seconds. I also really like in general that judo penalizes anyone being overly defensive or stalling. Even I was penalized for being overly defensive in one of my matches, and honestly when the ref gave me that shido, I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm sorry, I'm not doing positive judo, I'm gonna improve on that. In terms of my own performance and how I felt, even though I hadn't trained judo, pretty much, I trained maybe 7 or 8 times since last November up to now, which is March. And that's probably the most I've trained in the past 2.5 years. I honestly think that my overall grappling has gotten a lot better because I've been training pretty much full time in jiu-jitsu. So a lot of the things like positional awareness and gripping, I know it's not the same techniques at all, but just the awareness of the possibilities, I feel has improved. And so I felt when I approached the competition mats, I was definitely a better competitor than I was 3 years ago. So that gave me some confidence just to, keep training in judo, and if maybe even compete some more and see where I can take that.